We have no presentations or recognitions tonight, so we can move on to the minutes. They look great to me. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Any discussion or anything? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We don't have any public hearings tonight either, but we'll have one at some point next month, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. So for now, let's move on to general comments. So this is the time that people can come up and talk about anything that's not on the agenda. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. And welcome up. Don't forget, you have a friend in the room. Hello?
Hello, Lane Edgell, 309 North Main Street. I know that there's many here that really don't like what I get up and I have to say, because usually it has something to do with a negative comment. But my issue is, there's actually a verse in the Bible that says, be angry and sin not. So there are things that are supposed to make us angry. And so there's many things that do make me angry, and I'm going to say something about it. I remember what you did to Wendy Hostetler. I remember what you did to Karen Johansson, and what you did to many other city employees who told me personally, it's not some kind of rumor. And I remember what you did to me personally. And the reason I bring it up is the stunt you pulled last city commission, where you want to go behind closed doors so that you could control the narrative. But just to give you guys a background, I used to run the zoo. I managed the zoo. I'm a USDA licensed exhibitor. I'm very skilled with all different types of exotic animals. And so we were at the zoo. We were trying to make the zoo something very, very special. We had put together a zoological society that Betty gave, was the director of that. We had Washington Park Zoo, Potter Park Zoo in Lansing, Black Pine Animal Park in Indiana, and we had the famous Jack Hanna, who was willing to work with us to make that place something very, very special. So Jack Hanna called Betty Gave and said, Betty, what can I do to help make this something special? So Tom Lowry heard about this from several citizens, and they told him, you ought to call Blaine Edgell and find out what's going on with the zoo and just the vision that they've got there, the Zoological Society had. And so he called me. I said, sure, let's get together and have this meeting. So then, the day after that, Joe Bippus comes down to the zoo and says, I canceled the meeting. I said, why would you cancel the meeting? I said, the mayor asked me to talk to him about the zoo. He said, well, you can't meet with the mayor or city commissioners. I said, well, I find that strange. So came the day that I was supposed to meet with Tom, and Joe has never told me that he told Tom that the meeting was canceled. I didn't want to stand up the mayor, so I asked Mark Glessner, who was my boss. I said, Mark, what should I do? Mark said, you should go to the meeting. He said, but you can't talk about finances and you can't talk about wages. I said, that's fine. So I went down to Tom's store, and I walked in, and Tom's putting away some books. And I said, hey, Tom, did Joe tell you that the meeting was canceled? And he said, yeah. He said, but I can talk to anybody I want to talk to. I said, well, fine, let's talk about this. So him and I sat outside his store on one of those benches, and we talked about the zoo. We didn't talk about finances. We didn't talk about employment. We talked about what our vision for the zoo was. The next day, I get a notice that I'm insubordinate, that because I had the meeting with Tom that Mark Glessner told me to go have. So I'm told by Mark that I'm supposed to have a meeting with him and Joe Bippus. So I said, fine. So I go to this meeting that's supposed to be Mark and Joe Bippus, and there's 8 people in the room. Like that was going to intimidate me? I just laughed, and I said, well, I guess I'm going to get myself fired. And I just went into the meeting, said what I had to say, and the next day I get a notice from Joe Bippus that I'm been terminated for being insubordinate. And those are the issues, the same thing that he tried to do in this city commission meeting, last meeting, to control what Angel said. He's going to pull another stunt to try to control the narrative, and I have a huge problem with that. I mean, unfortunately, you guys don't know a lot of things about city employees. I know these stories. I've been told these stories over and over again about the control issues he has with them. I've even been told the department heads can't come, when they come to say something here, they're told what they can and what they can't say, and if they say something beyond that, they can be in big trouble. So that's the issues we're dealing with, and I thought, you know, I haven't been for a while, but that last city commission meeting where he tried to control Angel, and then things like that's just got to stop. You know, we're here for what's best. That place would be an absolute gem today if all those zoos were working with us, and it would be the draw of the city of Three Rivers.
Thank you, Blaine. Anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, Michael Yingling, 1651 Garfield Court. I wanted to talk about the flock cameras. So, I'm really against these flock cameras. I don't believe in more surveillance than what we already have. Can it be a useful tool to help law enforcement out? Sure. But I believe that we want people to live as naturally as possible, and we can't do that under a surveillance state. So, I believe with our population size being roughly 7,742 people, the need for these cameras isn't necessarily here, especially for the cost of these cameras. Now, you know, Kalamazoo has 73,000 people, Portage has roughly 50,000 people, so I could see using them in those areas, just not for our city. So some of the information I found from this website told me that they took down license plates for different reasons. They took it down for littering and proper plates, for a test example, maintenance test, for training, and this was just all right here in Portage, Coldwater, all Michigan cities that were taking these plates down for these reasons. And to me, when something like a license plate, yes, it's technically public information, but it should be public to the people of Three Rivers, you know, or wherever you travel to. Someone in Three Rivers, their license plate should not be spotted in California because a hacker was able to get on and access their information via license plate camera. So that's one of the main reasons I'm against it. Second being is they have not been very good with disclosure when there's any kind of issue. So in November, in this article that I read, Gaines, and he's a reporter, he was able to access information regarding the flock security cameras, and the flock knew about this, right? And this happened, I believe, I forget which date it was, you have to forgive me, but they did not notify. So when something like that happens, they're supposed to notify the government agency, like the local PD, as well as the FBI. They failed to do so for a period of 8 months. And on top of that, the hardware in which they use is very outdated. It's the Snapdragon 625 chip, and that hasn't received any security updates since 2021. So it's physically impossible for these cameras to be up to date on the security aspect of it. But to me, I believe I read somewhere it would cost our city about $21,700 something.
I think close, yeah.
For just, you know, our very small community, and I don't think it would be a good idea for us to continue to run this program.
Excellent, thank you very much. Appreciate your input. This is a very well-researched. Michael presented the commission with some highlights from his speech, and it's sourced as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlie's coming on up.
Hello,
Hi, Charlie.
I'm Charlie Waldmood, Board Chair, Three Rivers Downtown Development Authority. I live right downtown. Two positives, and then one, I guess, kind of negative. I appreciate the city for what they did getting it back together after the tornado. It's not like that happens every week. I think everyone jumped in, they did what they had to do, and with the volunteers and stuff, that was a war zone, and I drive around a lot, so I see that. Second thing I noticed, Angel, your hair, you got beautiful red hair. But I noticed as the meeting goes on, it gets redder. Is that special effects or is that a conditioner thing?
I don't know, it must be the lighting, because it's not even
Okay.
red anymore.
On a serious note, the reason I'm here, 3 of us from the DDA, we're trying to start a farmer's market or a community market, whatever you want to call it, Sidmore Park. We submitted myself, Jason Ballou, and Jesse Ullman. Jesse works at HG Real Estate. She did the the Fall Fest. Jason does a lot of stuff downtown, design things, plans things, ad nauseum, just attention to detail. It gets annoying, but he's great at that. And we wanted to do it once a month on a Sunday, at the end of each month, from April to September. We wanted to do it at Sidmore Park. We had like 25 vendors lined up, maybe some food trucks. We were going to do it from 11 to about 3 in the afternoon. There's not a lot going on that day on Sundays, and we thought we'd draw people in. We'd have the vendors going. We'd also advertise stuff that's going on, like the Huss Market, downtown events, things like that, and encourage people to attend that. I got a letter from the city after we did it. It says, thank you. After review, the city is unable to approve the request. Huss Projects already has an established farmers market. Due to limited city resources and scheduling capacity, we cannot support an additional recurring market style event at this time. And I would question, we're not asking the city for anything. I've done all these events, Harmony Fest, for 10 years or more. A lot of other events. And I'm usually the last one there. We get things cleaned up. We leave it as clean or more than what it was. My plan was we'd go in, clean things up Thursday or Friday that week, have the event on a Sunday. And again, the city does a great job. Zosha down there does great. She has a part-time person with her, but it's hard for them to clean up. You go down there, and it smells like pee a lot of times back there from the transitional homeless people. We're going to get that cleaned up, clean off the graffiti, which I've done before, the satanic stuff and all that on the tables. And I have no problem with that. I like getting out there. I like doing things. Keeps me active. But I disagree. We're not asking anything from the city. We just want the keys so we can use the bathroom. There are a lot of, it's down there a few weeks ago when it was real hot, and there was like 40 or 50 people. Most of them I had not seen in the playground there. We could draw those people in, get them hooked into downtown, stuff like that. And we want to have music. We want to do bingo, things like that. Just a fun thing, family-friendly stuff. All our events are family-friendly for the DDA. And we're not asking for anything. We'll keep it better than what we found it. So I was a little disappointed with that. Jason, again, has great details. He's got an education, bachelor's. He's done a design person. Jessie also has a degree. She's also a realtor, but she's also into agriculture. She grows things. She has her own nursery, things like that. She's done stuff like this before. And then I've done a lot of these events too. So I think I know what I'm doing. I think ours leave things better. We never had issues at Harmony Fest. I would take care of them when we did. And I guess I would ask the city to reconsider that. I think it's a great way, especially since we're losing another restaurant downtown, to get people going. And we need more things like this on a Sunday especially. It's nice down there on the river. It's set up for a farmer's market. It still says it on the map. It's beautiful down there. People can meander in, hear a guitar going, get some food, get stuff. And again, it's going to be local people that bring in like farmer type stuff and crafts and things like that. So I don't know what the issue was, and I guess I'd like them to reconsider. So again, I get along with the city. Most of the time I agree with them, as much as I agree with anybody, you know, but I think they do a good job most of the time. I just am a little perplexed on this one, that's all. So,
Who denied you?
what's that?
What did you get denied? What are you asking for?
We just want to do it once a month. We're putting it on. Any money we get from the vendors, we're going to plug it back into the farmer's market.
I'm saying, but you sound like it got denied or you run into a hang-up.
Yeah.
What's the hang-up right now?
The city said no. I'll give you this paperwork if you want to look at it. So this is just what I submitted, nothing
We're
more.
gonna put it on
Nothing.
the agenda and discuss it as the commission next meeting, if
Yeah,
that's all
we
right.
sure can.
Okay. But here's this stuff if you want to look at it.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you for your time.
You bet. Thank you so much. Here, I'll pass this around. Thank you so much, Charlie. I appreciate that. I'm a sucker for a farmer's market. Have a good one. All right. Who's next for regular public comment? Come on up.
Hello, my
Good
name is
evening.
Maurice Kelly, stay at 610 H Street. And I was wondering when the timeline for the construction of Michigan Avenue and Main Street is going to begin.
Great question. I'm not sure we have the answer. Joe, I'll look at you and ask if we have an answer.
It's the 28 and 29?
28 and 29.
Of this year?
No, 2028,
No,
2028.
The year.
That's
know.
far away?
Yeah, I
2 years before they even get started on that? Why is that taking so long? Is it a money problem or is it construction
Oh,
problem?
it's a state project?
Yeah, I know it's a state street,
know
I found that out. Both of them are state street, and you have to get funds from the state, and the city has to put in funds for it too, right?
We're gonna put in funds for our infrastructure underneath that we have, like water and sewer line, things like that. But the building of the street is theirs.
So it's just a combination project?
Yeah, it's smart on our part, if they're gonna tear it up, to go through it at that time and do our work.
Yes.
And that's not gonna happen to 28.
Yeah.
Is the,
Is there any other repairs that they're doing, you know? They did some last year. They came in and did some paving, patching or whatever, but I agree,
Yeah.
it needs to be done, and
Yes.
it should be
Yeah,
done
that's-
sooner.
You're not gonna hear anybody argue and say it doesn't have to be done. But this is one of those cases where it's not a city road.
right, I know,
So
yes.
unfortunately, we are at the
Yeah.
mercy of the
Yeah.
state in this respect. But I'm glad to hear that we already have our plans to do our portion of whatever's beneath it that needs to be done.
Okay, what I wanna, something else I wanna know, in that plan, is the houses that's not along the main street gonna be done too?
The houses?
For lead in the water? The other houses that are outside of the main streets,
Not outside of state trunk lines, not with this project.
so that's not covered in that?
Correct.
So how, you go about to get that covered? How do you get the other houses that's not along that path?
So
to be-
you'll see, even later in tonight's discussion, when we do our local streets, we're planning to do that work underneath there as well, at the same time.
And who pays for that?
The city of
The city pays for that. So is there gonna be, you're gonna have to get like a grant or a loan or something to do that, or can the city outright just pay for it?
We've been saving money to do these projects.
So you don't, you don't have do you have a, estimate of how much that would cost? You don't know that yet?
For what? The whole city?
Yeah, the other houses outside of that, outside of what the city's gonna do.
Around 13.2 million.
How much?
13.2 million.
Amy, that covers everything?
That covers about 600 water services, and then we also have all of the state trunk line work, which
Okay.
has lead service lines.
Sure.
So that's another $8 million.
Okay.
And there's no timeline on that yet either? No. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate the question. I'm gonna ask a quick follow-up too. We're still waiting for the lead line identification to happen, right? Did the tornado slow that down at all?
A little
I
bit.
mean, it would have to.
It
pretty
slowed
much,
the
right?
contractor down,
Sure, well, yeah.
getting
Of
worse.
course. Okay. Do you know approximately if they have any idea now in light of the storm when they might finish?
I have not, well, they haven't started. They were supposed to start April 20th.
Okay,
I'm waiting for an updated start date.
okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Right. Anybody else at the moment for non-agenda items? All right. Oh, here we go. We've got somebody coming up. Welcome to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record.
Phyllis Ritchie, 1220 Shiawassee River Road. I've lived here 7 years, okay, and there's really not a lot of communication in this town. You know, you only hear from what other people say. And I see you all have, your districts up there. And I really didn't know what district I lived in. there was nowhere to go, I didn't know where to go to find out.
It's hard to find.
Yeah. So, on my last ballot that I got, I had, Commissioner Dane's name was on it, and Commissioner Brown. You know, for voting, and that's all, only two. Okay, so, I know, they're both in the, well, Commissioner Dane's in the first district, so that's where I thought I lived. And not that it's really important, but it is important, because I wanted to know. And so I'm in one. So now if I had a problem, or if I wanted to, relate something to the commissioners, and I would call you or email you, I would be, talking to the wrong person, right? Right?
Well,
Because I went to the map, and I live in District 4, or Ward 4. I didn't know that.
I
But-
understand.
you can talk to any commissioner.
Well, maybe that's what I want to know. So why do we even have that? Why are you guys divided like that? Up
That's a
here.
great question.
Why don't you just say, you're a commissioner, and we just, whoever we want to,
Ma'am,
communicate with.
It's set up like that, so each individual district or ward, if someone in your direct ward wants to, let's say there's I'm the 3rd district commissioner, let's say somebody that lives in the 3rd district, for those who know that I'm their commissioner,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier for them to just get online, look for my phone number, contact me directly, they know that I'm their direct neighbor, and it'll be, or at least, it would seem like it would be a lot easier just to come right to me, because I'm your direct commissioner. So it's broke up in little sections to try to make things easier, but overall, you're more than welcome to speak to any commissioner.
You're right. There's also a little bit more I'd like to add. I understand and I completely agree with you that it's not easy to find out what your district is. I have learned my way through the city website. John, you just had one up there, I'm so sorry, I hope you didn't put it away. If you go to the city website, so this is the map, if you go to just our main page and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, literally just scroll and scroll and scroll, at the very, very bottom on the right-hand side, you can see there's 2 different maps you can pull up. They show the same thing, but like they're different sizes for if you want to print them.
Right.
Now, why we have the different districts is sort of for 2 reasons. Number one, that's how our charter is set up. Our charter is like essentially our city's constitution. And this way, every area, you have somebody who lives in that area, and then you're not all concentrated up in one region where everybody kind of lives in one place. Now, why we vote for everybody, I don't have a good explanation for that, other than that's how our charter is written. That's something Leslie and I actually chatted about a long, long, long time ago about why is this? Because I'll tell you the truth, I thought I got the wrong ballot when I moved back to town. Because I knew which district I lived in and I knew who my commissioner was. I'm like, this isn't right. And it just turned out that that's how the charter was written. Personally, I disagree with it. Maybe not everybody agrees with me, but that's just the way it is. You can, of course, reach out to any commissioner you want. The at-large positions, which are Lee at the end and then Tori next to me here, they cover the whole city. And the at-large commissioners can live anywhere, and then the rest of the commissioners that have their districts have to live in their districts. But it is just the way it's set up.
It's really confusing. I was really confused. Because I also thought, oh my gosh, I voted in the last election on the wrong ballot.
Right.
Just keep calling until you get one of us, that's all I have to say.
You can always call me too.
And
Before you move
being
on,
as you
Oh,
mentioned
ma'am?
ma'am, before you move on, there's a difference between districts and wards. We have 2 districts and 4 wards.
that. Oh,
Do
well.
you mean voting precincts?
Yes.
They're
You
actually
know,
not called
Okay, I have an
districts, they're
idea.
called precincts.
But why don't one of you, whoever wants to, write that up, outline it, so that the people like me sitting at home reading their newspaper can read it.
I can
Submit
do
it
that.
to the newspaper, be a nice article for the city to do. Explain some of this stuff, because no, I don't understand it.
And I would be happy to do that.
And I'm not here all the time, but I am a lot more involved than what you would think I do. I read the paper, and I have all of your numbers.
Nice. Wow, you sure do.
I printed them all off. Okay, I was just confused. And I
Thank you,
wanted
Phyllis.
to,
I appreciate it, and I will get that done in the next couple of days, and I'll,
yeah,
would Shar have your information if I wanted to
oh, yeah,
do something?
absolutely.
Or send it to you somehow? Okay,
Absolutely, yeah.
fantastic.
But it would be nice to have some of this stuff just explained. All right, thanks.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Alrighty, anybody else? Alright, going once, going twice? Alright, general comments are closed. Let's go ahead and move on to our business. We need to set the hearing for our, set the public hearing for our budget discussion, which got adjusted, hi Bobby, welcome up, from June 2nd, and the proposed date now is May 19th, which I actually like better. Anything from you, Bobby?
Same game, new date.
All right. Yep, absolutely. Any comments from the crowd? I didn't think so. All right, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
All right. Any discussion? Okay. All right. I'm really happy about it. Thank you for making it on the 19th. I appreciate it. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion very easily carries. Thank you, Bobby. All right, okay, we're getting into the meat of it, guys. Come on up, Amy. All right, this is the 2026 Act 51 roadway changes. Amy, do you want to give us a little brief on what this is? I had to look it up and figure out what the heck Act 51 roadway change was, so I'm happy to explain it. As you can see on the screen, this essentially is, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to make sure I have the understanding right. We have to file with the state all of our legitimate existing roads, and then if there's any changes, we quote decommission them, is that right? And then if any are added, then we add them, and that's what we're doing here. I was looking up these streets, and it looks like the two that we're decommissioning don't exist.
So they're available to the public, but they don't act as the same type of roadway
Okay,
that we want them to.
okay.
And so we're decommissioning them and pulling them off of our official roadways.
Okay.
They're still public right of way.
Okay, I might be a little confused. When I looked online, I happened to remember one of the streets because I had walked it. It looked like it literally just didn't exist at that number. It was trees.
It was trees.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. So were they roads that just never got built? That we thought we would? Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense. All right. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All right. Any discussion from the board? Or, I'm sorry, we need a motion.
So moved. Support.
Okay. Any questions or comments? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will update our roads and the motion carries. All right. Next up, we have our DPS parking lot replacement for phase 3. I noticed in the papers, or in the paper, I always say the paper, in a publication today, it was the Department of Public Safety, but it's actually DPS, Department of Public Services, correct? Okay, just wanted to clarify that. We took some bids to have is this the final phase, phase 3? No, okay. How many phases?
We'll see.
Ooh, okay.
It just depends on how big of a section we do each
Okay.
time.
Oh, okay. All right, sounds good. This one looks great because it came in under budget, so fantastic. All right. Any questions from the public? Comments? All right, I know, guys, this isn't really exciting, sorry. All right, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Support.
All right. Any questions from the board?
Yes, Amy, I noticed a lot of times in the last couple of years that the lowest and most responsible bidder is not always what we peg on. And what we pegged on here was the second lowest, which is gonna cost the city an extra 30 to 40,000 because we didn't take the two lowest. On the guise of, you say it's more reputable, so we should go with them because they've done our work in the past. Well, they've done the work in the past, I'm pretty sure everybody in here can say the roads are still trash.
That's fair.
whether they do it good or not, I would say save the 30 or 40,000 and go with Thompson Construction over Lakeland Asphalt.
So just for clarification, when Thompson bid, they didn't bid replacing the base material, they only bid replacing the asphalt. So if you notice on the bid tab, the updated number is actually $69,900 for Thompson.
Yes.
So that's their actual bid to make it equivalent to everyone else's.
But we
base
still
bid.
save 28 grand though. It's still 28 grand if you add in Thompson and Lakeland Asphalt. It's still about 28 grand that we would save.
It's 20.
20?
It's 20, yep.
Okay.
Have we had any dealings with the other company? Okay. Do you have any comments?
I would ask her not to make comments.
I was just gonna say, based
I mean,
on,
at this point,
I made the recommendation that I made, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay, that's fair.
Yep.
I can tell from the look on your face you didn't really want to, so. All right. Okay. That sort of leaves us in a predicament. So we have a company that, you know, we're gonna pay a little more, but our director is happier with. I think that's probably fair to say. You made your recommendation. I'll say that. I'm sorry, I won't put words in your mouth about happiness, but you made your recommendation. So at this point, it's up to us. It's a very good question though, Luke. I'm glad you raised that. I guess it's up to the board now to determine how we should move forward. Are there any other comments or questions?
I have a question.
Let's make a quick allowance. How about that?
Just one more question. Who makes that decision? Who gets the contract?
We make the decision.
The board does?
Yes, the board makes the decision.
I make the motion that we accept. I'm putting a motion out there.
I think did we already have a motion before for this one? Oh, no, we were still in exploratory. Okay, so Pat has moved that we accept the proposal. Is there a second? Oh, okay.
I didn't hear it. No,
We've got it.
I didn't hear it.
Lucas.
Okay, thank you guys. You know I miss them sometimes.
Now, there's quite a lot that goes into these bids, and Amy does an amazing job, and that's why she's here. And there's things that happen that we don't know about, and there's people who has done amazing work for us, and there's people who haven't done the greatest work for us. And just because the price is lower does not mean the work is going to be as good. And what we should focus on is who's gonna do the best work for our community. And that's what Amy's job is to determine who's gonna do the best work for our community. And I trust that opinion.
I trust that opinion, but I also feel it wouldn't be fair for us to not at least ask questions, just
No.
just for the, you know, the warm and fuzzy for everybody.
Absolutely.
I think it's more than
Why
fair
have
to ask
bid?
questions.
Why bid? Why do we even bid? If we just keep getting low, the low ball person doesn't win.
Well, I mean, legally we have to take bids, right?
Oh, I understand that. I'm just making a point.
we're still getting best prices.
The
I have
lowball
an
person
idea.
isn't always gonna do the best work either.
Yes, but
Not
you look at the roads now, it doesn't matter. Save 20, 30 grand, and let's see if they do a better job, because the other roads here are all trash.
After going over the, you know, the bids and things, I figured that she knew what she was doing, and there was a reason for it, so that's the only reason I didn't ask the question, is along with Commissioner Brown, you know, I trust your judgment. This isn't your first rodeo.
It's tough to recommend a $20,000 difference. It's,
You know, we're financially conservative.
Mhm. I see both sides of these questions.
Same.
What would be nice in the future is if, and maybe we could do this just across the board, that way, TJ, tell me if this would satisfy you. If we just had a report at the end of projects, anytime we work with a contractor, and we could set aside, set this up to begin with, a review process. In this project, we need X, Y, and Z taken care of, and then you can produce, I don't need some 72-page report, but a little report card on how well you think that project went, and we could keep those filed away, so that, if company A has 5 great report cards and company B gets a couple of bad ones, even if company A is gonna want 20 extra grand, we could very confidently, and without really one person's opinion sitting here putting you on the spot, we can say, well, they have done X, Y, and Z for us and got really good results. So, how does that sound? Moving forward.
Legally, the city can keep track. I mean, I think my experience is the city does somewhat do that as far as their project notes. They know.
We're not getting any reports.
Internally.
And if we need to stop Amy from saying things about another company,
Well,
that are trying to get us the information without.
Well, report cards are still, yeah, I mean, again, that's something that the city can explore as far as
I think it would be different though.
policy commit, or a policy or spending policy.
The way I'm looking at it though is that it wouldn't be one vendor versus another, it would just be a statement of how a project went. A completely objective statement that could just be filed away, and then the next time that bidder or anybody with a report card comes up, you can rank them. It's objective, it's not a comparison in the moment of different things or who you might like better. This is our history with these vendors, and this is what I can present to you.
Also, I'd like to just say, if there's any questions that I ever ask, I hope that anybody who's, answering the question knows that I'm not asking for my own personal gratification. I was voted in by the 3rd district. I'm asking for the 3rd district. I fully trust each and every one of you to do your job. I know that you're hired to do that job for a reason. I'm asking because I'm doing my due diligence for the 3rd district. That's all.
One thing I will say is sometimes projects turn out really well right when they're done, and then time tells us additional things.
That makes very good sense.
And I second that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Well, I do think that some objective, report at the end of any project would be valuable. Also, Amy, if you win the lottery and move to Hawaii, we don't want to be calling you every 10 minutes saying, hey, how's this vendor? And if you take Taylor with you, we got to rely on something, right? So again, I'm not asking for a 72-page thing. And maybe this is something, I see both your points about things can look great in the beginning. Maybe it's something that gets updated a couple years down the road, or in a reasonable time for you to understand. Like one project might go bad in a year, but if you know something might hold up for 5, but it should hold up for 20, pop that out of the folder 5 years later and see how it's doing. How would you guys feel about that? Does the commission have any input?
Wouldn't hurt. I was gonna say, certainly wouldn't hurt.
All right. Anybody else have an opinion? Right, I'm just looking for some consensus on how we can prevent having to make decisions difficultly later on. So, I see there's 3 that think we should and 4 quiet, so. All right, well, we do have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion? Okay, all right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. I do very much appreciate these questions. They are very, very important. All right. All right. Yikes, we're about to spend a bunch of money, you guys. All right, so the tornado cleanup invoices from March 6th tornado. Let's see. We had 2 different companies that the city has used for, as far back as I can remember, that jumped in and did a bunch of tree cleanup for us. J.C. and Sons and Roberts Brothers Excavating. They cleaned up over 70 trees, and they're working on the cemetery to be opened on March 21st. And our financial impact here is quite high, which I guess can be expected. It was a whole lot of trees. So is there anything that the public would like to bring to our attention before we ask for a motion? All right, doesn't look like right, do we have a motion to approve these invoices?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, any questions or comments?
I do. This is part of the, we pay up front and potentially hope to get back later?
Yes.
Because I did see that the governor requested federal relief and considered this a natural disaster. And we're waiting on the federal government to approve or disapprove, and this could be returned to us with those funds, correct?
Correct, it could be.
Okay, it's a potential.
It's a potential.
It needed to be done anyway, but we could possibly get some of this back.
And also, I'd like to add that, you know, it is a lot of money, it's a lot of money. But after a natural disaster like that, getting a community back in order as quickly as possible is gonna restore faith, it's gonna restore, you know, a sense of community back when it's needed most. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, and it's just, nobody could have predicted it. It is what it is, and it's one of the unfortunate things, but, you know, again, I'll agree with you. Hopefully it's one of those things that we do get some of it back, but if not, it was a necessary spend regardless.
And we need to get back to some type of normalcy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Any other questions at the moment? Joe, is there a spending threshold we have to meet before we qualify for the aid?
It was something low, like 30,000.
Yeah, we had to spend a certain amount within 5 days, and we definitely did.
Yeah, especially if it was 30 grand.
Yeah.
We spent that by dark. Okay. Okay, well, that's really good to know. And then, do you have any feeling on the likelihood, either of you, of us recouping these costs?
Now, there's a potential meeting from the state that I hope to be invited to, and if I get invited, that's good news for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's setting that meeting up?
All I've been told so far was through the county, and it was like a little bit of a preemptive meeting where I learned here's, and I can look up the amount, I just don't remember off the top of my head. It was like 40,000 we had to spend within 5 days, and then it gives you up to X amount once you qualify, if they say yes, but it's all in the state's hands. And the last time that they had dealt with one, it was a couple of months before they heard from the state, so it may not be anytime soon.
Okay.
But we're preparing everything as if the answer is yes, so we'll be ready to go if we do get the green light.
Okay, great. I saw Garland Gilchrist, our lieutenant governor, a couple weeks ago, and he was very kind and said, you know, they've got our back, so let's hope that he means it. He's a very nice man. I've met him several times, and I hope he means it. All right. This is just a tiny bit off topic, but this is the right time to ask. While we're talking about the cemetery, how are the headstones?
Overall, they fared really well
Okay.
for the number of trees that we
Sure.
cut down.
Okay, there happens to be an Eagle Scout who approached me, he and his mom approached me, and he's considering making his big project to fundraise and take care of some of the headstones. I would love to be in touch with you or put him in touch with you or the right person. You? Okay, great. I feel terrible, his name is escaping me now, but it's in my phone, so, okay, thank you. Take a quick note. Really nice young man, thank you, okay. Any other questions regarding these invoices? No, doesn't look like it, okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Fingers crossed we get it back. All right, next up we have our micro surface and crack filling. We opened bids on March 26th. Does that mean physically opened them? Okay, that's what I thought. We set the notice out a ways before that, correct?
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I understood that verbiage right. We received one bid. That was it, for a total of $588,650. There were a couple of bid alternatives. Were included for Armstrong Park and the airport. This company has successfully completed projects for us, and they use a local subcontractor from Kazoo. There's a pretty significant financial impact here. It's significantly over budget. Would you like to tell us a little more, Amy?
So overall, it's not over budget because we had 2 fiscal years in local and majors that we budgeted. So we actually set aside $600,000,
Okay.
but we had more local streets that needed this preventative maintenance. And so we're asking to shift money that was set up for major streets for this treatment into local streets.
Okay. Okay, then what happens to those major streets that we were planning to work on?
So we didn't have as many major streets that needed that preventative maintenance.
Really?
There's certain major streets that are beyond this type of preventative maintenance,
Gotcha.
and then there's major streets that haven't been paved long enough to do this.
Okay.
So
Thank you for the clarity.
we went for the ones that this is the right treatment or preventative maintenance for them.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you for the explainer. Is there anybody from the crowd who would like to address us on this matter? Come on, this is exciting, guys. I'm kidding. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Any questions? Oh, we're quiet. Got nothing here? All right. Because we only had one bid, how come we only had one bid? I guess, let me just rephrase that into a question. Is this something that not a lot of companies do?
Not a lot of local companies do. There were 6 companies that do this work in the Midwest. They were all directly sent the bid document.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, wow, so you proactively reached out to them?
yeah, that's normally how we do our bid documents, is we send them to contractors that we know do this type of work
Okay,
and request them to provide us a bid.
thank you. I did not know that. I thought they were just advertised and that was it. Good job, Amy, thank you.
I know a hot topic right now is the streets from a lot of the citizens that I've spoken to, especially in the last few days.
Yep.
I got my ear gnawed off at Harding's the other day, and I was told that I'm a BOS because we commissioners are sitting up here twiddling our thumbs while our roads are falling apart. I assured them that when we meet, we are going to do whatever we can to come up with solutions as quickly as possible. I know doing this is, you're not always gonna make everybody happy with the answers that you give. That being said, is there any projected timeline that we're gonna start doing any of these roads so I can start letting people know, hey, the cavalry's on the way?
Which roads?
Any.
All the ones that
Pick
we own.
one and I'll be happy.
So we actually have a couple
Okay.
as our next agenda item, and
Okay.
there's a bid out right now that will open on April 23rd for 6 or 7
Awesome.
others.
Awesome.
And then there's a 6-year plan.
Okay.
Where could we find that?
You guys will see it with the budget.
Okay. All right, that's good news, because at least I can tell people, hang tight, we'll see you on the 19th. We'll see you on the 19th, or,
Well, the 12th, it'll be part of the budget presentation.
oh, even better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, okay, I'm thinking of public hearing, no, on the 12th. All right, that's not so bad. We'll have our 6-year plan. Fantastic.
That we just sent out, ones that go to and the streets listed that we plan to do.
It's also in the newsletter.
Okay, and then, the ones that we're planning to do over 6 years. So, obviously, not everybody knows the difference between the city road, a state road, and federal and all that. So, we get a lot of flack for roads that we really don't have control over. Is there a way, or is this already done, that, we can show people what we are planning to do in 6 years, but then also what we're not doing? Like, these are roads that might be on the next 6-year plan, or something like that. Or, oh no, I'm sorry, am I making John squirm? No, okay.
No.
I can map anything.
Okay. So, just so folks have an idea what the future looks like, and we have some good answers for them. People get a lot more patient when you can tell them, I know it stinks, but it's gonna happen in 2029, or whatever it is. And I'd love to be able to do that. And is there anything, I imagine that the city in general is in touch with the state begging for money, right? To do, and begging for attention on their roads that we don't have control over.
On the state roadways?
Yeah.
2, somewhere around there. It just takes them a while to put together all of the funds that they're putting together for this upcoming project.
Okay,
There's a lot of funding sources, and there's a lot of design time in it.
sure.
That's what we're in right now, is all of the design work,
Okay,
which is about a year and a half worth of work.
yeah, it's
And
quite a bit.
Another tough part about it is, social media is gonna bring a lot of,
Yeah,
Facebook lawyers who, just today, earlier, I seen online that the commissioners could handle all these road issues
Yep.
with one meeting if we wanted to, and
Yeah.
I commented and I very respectfully said, I'm sorry, that's just not the way that this works, this is government. Government requires waiting and, it requires teamwork and communication, and I'm sorry that you feel that I can snap my fingers and have it done, but if I could, I would.
right, my alignment's off too, you guys, like, I think everybody up here, we would snap our fingers if we could, without a doubt.
And we go after federal and state funding that we can use to match our funds as well, to maximize our projects.
Stretch our dollar.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I know I'm asking a lot of you tonight, can you tell us this, can you tell us that, but could you sort of keep us informed a little bit so we can bring that to the public? Like, hey, we're asking for whatever, just when you have a nugget to give us that we can throw out to the public and give people a bone. I appreciate it. For myself too, I mean, I wanna know when these roads are gonna get done. But communication solves so many problems, and I think it'll help people grow their patience, because, yeah, our roads are a mess, right? Nobody here thinks our roads are in good shape, right? Are there any commissioners who think our roads look great? Of course not, right? And so, go ahead, Amy.
One thing that would help, the general public just generalizes our roads, and I know that
Yes.
there are multiple roads in bad shape,
Yes.
but helping understand what they're seeing
Mhm.
and their perspective
Sure.
also helps. There is a street and sidewalk committee that meets every year,
Mhm.
and so their contact information is available. There was one from each district, and so the residents can also communicate with them,
Okay.
so that, we always have this 6-year running plan, but longer-term plans change.
Sure.
Roads degrade faster.
Yep.
I will tell you that this storm and all of the heavy equipment
Yeah.
that was on it right after that storm did a lot of damage. We had the frost coming out of the ground at that point in time, and it just destroyed roads that were already in rough shape, but now they are in awful shape.
I reminded a few of the people from up there, hey, we did just go through a natural disaster. It requires a lot of heavy equipment, and they did a lot of damage to the roads, and I was a liar, and I was misinformed, and so I'm just, okay, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm gonna go back home.
It's nice though, and I heard that too. Believe me, I read like 5 times today, it's not my fault. So I'm like, I've been here since November, and nobody can fix the roads that fast. And I can't do it by myself anyway, right? So, but having the information, like, we're gonna get those folks. There's no doubt about it, that just are never gonna be happy. But for all those 1 comments that we get, there's 100 people that are reading it going, come on, they know better. So if we can at least present them with legitimate facts and a plan, I think the public will be a lot happier, and we'll see less stress on social media. So, thank you for that point, though, Amy. I did not realize that the storm and the machinery would have made things worse. So I'm sure that's gonna adjust your plans as well. Might have to, right?
Potentially.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. Any other questions on this? All right. All in favor of the motion on the floor to go ahead with our one and only bidder, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Do we have a motion?
We do, right? Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm getting there.
No, I was confused because he said so moved.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, no. Did I ask for a motion? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna vote. I'm sorry. Everybody remain with the yes? All right, everybody remains with the yes. My mistake. All right, next up, if I haven't gone too far, Peeler Street and 6th Ave? Yes, thank you. Okay. Let me see, let me actually click my button here. Sorry guys, I made my notes way too small for what my eyes are able to do tonight. All right, right, so we have bids for, roadway construction on Peeler Street from Erie to the bridge and from Sixth Avenue, excuse me, from, Wood to Jefferson. We got 3 bids, and, they're all attached. We also have the construction engineering proposal in the amount of $262,000 from Fleece and Vanderbrink. There's gonna be quite a big financial impact here. Allocation of $590,000 plus from municipal streets fund balance, and 81 grand from the water fund balance will be required. The recommendation is that we approve this money and authorize the purchase order in the amount of just over $2 million, and to authorize the purchase order to Fleece and Vandenbrink for the $261,000. Is there anything I missed in the opener there? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Any questions for Amy? Or, I'm sorry, anybody from the public? There's so many of you coming up for our roads tonight, that I just, it's all right. Okay, I don't see anybody, so it's back to us. Any questions on this one? Nobody? Okay. I see that this is the one that's way over budget. Yeah. Were there scope changes made since the original?
So when this was originally scoped, we didn't have a lot of storm sewer involved in it, and as we dug deeper into their condition,
Okay,
it needed to be replaced under these roads.
okay,
So that's where the big price difference is coming from.
okay. Do you know, what the increase is in terms of material inflation versus like just design changes?
We didn't see a lot of material inflation, about 3.5% is what we're seeing from, budgeted, but we also try to inflate those every year as we budget.
As we should.
Sometimes we get it right, sometimes inflation moves a little faster.
Okay.
But majority of it is requested scope changes.
Okay, that came about once we dug in to see what was going on. Okay, that's fair. You can't see in those streets. Not easily, at least. I see, from Fleece and Vandenbrink that's a lot of money. I mean, that's well over $250,000 for their services. That it says that they'll provide a resident project representative, during construction, and that they're allocating 45 hours a week, for 26 weeks. Is this person working here on site?
Yes.
Good, okay.
They act as the city's representative
Okay,
to observe the construction,
okay,
to make sure the specifications are being followed.
excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yep.
Wonderful, thank you.
And they love it when you ask them questions.
Oh, I'm sure they love when you ask questions.
I got the one that did Wood Street.
Well, I mean, if you have questions, you can bring them to me. I'll make sure they get on over there. Don't worry. Okay, all right. Does anybody have any questions that have come up? No? Okay. All right, this is a whole bunch of money, but it looks like it needs to happen, so. All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. Thanks, Amy. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve? So moved.
Support.
Oh, I'm sorry, is there anybody from the public that has any questions about the consent agenda? All right, I didn't think so, okay. So we have a motion on the floor. I don't have a ton of questions on this one tonight, but when I'm going, excuse me, sorry guys. When I'm going through the invoices, I can't tell if I just need to learn the system better, or if there just isn't as much information as I'd like. I don't see much description in, like, for example, we paid an attorney, not TJ's firm, this Cole, Stoker, and Toski, like $500. Why did we need a different attorney?
So we had they're our labor attorney.
Okay.
So under the
Okay,
charter,
sure.
we specialize out to deal with labor unions,
Okay.
and other issues that are up on that. So yeah, from time to time, the tax attorneys, when it comes to like
Mhm.
property tax appeals by the big coordinate with Jill.
I'm sorry.
Coordinate with city staff if
Okay.
they need to talk to.
Okay. I wish we could see that. Like, even just in parentheses, like labor attorney. You know, it would just be cool. There was this is small money in comparison to everything else we're spending tonight, but Joseph Hayes was paid $495 for fiscal year 26 cleanups. What kind of cleanups?
That was,
that?
our code,
What?
yeah, our code enforcement cleanups, when, it
Only $500?
must have been for just that one. Yeah,
Wait, I'm sorry. I
that
didn't
was
hear-
just one.
It was just one. Okay. Was that really Wood Street? We got that for $500?
We didn't say wood, we said one, it was one cleanup.
Oh, Sarah thought it was
I
hers.
thought it was ours. Oh, no, sorry. All for getting excited.
Well, like, because if he'll do all that for $500, man, he's gonna get some business out of the city. Okay, it just, I wonder if I might benefit from some time with Bobby to see if there's a language in here that I'm not catching on to where I can figure out more of this stuff for myself.
Well, when we sit down for the budget thing, we can start that discussion.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get that on the books soon, actually, because
He's working on it.
okay. Can you reach out soon? I'd really love to get that time off approved, and it's starting to get into my busy season at work, so thank you, I appreciate it. All right, any questions about the consent agenda? No? Okay, we have a motion on the floor, I believe. All right, all in favor of approving? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, consent agenda carries. All right, we'll get into the one really fun part of the night. We have an appointment for the planning commission. Now, I want to give a little explanation. I know that we had stopped appointments a while back because there were some inconsistencies with the charter and with bylaws and such, but the planning commission is governed by state law. Nothing we have to say about it really matters. So we're able to, I felt comfortable moving forward with that. So I took some time to meet our candidate, Brian Nelligan, and I think he's fantastic. We have a lot of common interests, which just made me happy because I'm a farm geek and I live in the city. But I feel very, very comfortable offering that appointment, and that's how a planning commissioner should be brought to the board. The mayor appoints and then the commission approves. So kind of like a cabinet member or something where, you know, say the president says, I want this person, but then the Senate has to agree to it. That's kind of how this goes. So with full confidence, I would like to appoint Brian to be our next planning commissioner. Brian, would you like to say anything? You don't have to at all, but come on up if you'd like to.
Not to put on the spot.
Good evening, commissioners, mayor, and city staff. Thanks for having me. My name is Brian Nelligan. I moved to 221 South Andrew Street in July of 2024. Since moving here, I've been really impressed with how welcoming and vibrant a community Three Rivers is. And so I'm seeking this appointment to the Planning Commission to further that work and ensure that continues to be the case for years and decades to come. I hope to work with and learn from you all, and yeah, thanks for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And Brian's an attorney, so he's ready for public speaking. So.
Yes.
He knows his stuff. This isn't his first time before a little group of folks. And so, thank you. So, do we have a motion to approve Brian?
So moved.
Support.
Any questions or anything else? No? I imagine there was from the public. I'm sorry.
I was just reading your application, and you have a lot of good qualities and things, and I'm just glad that you want to apply your talents to our city.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've been very, inspired by all you guys serving, so thank you all for your service, and hope to do the same.
You're too kind. Thank you. I think Brian's going to be an awesome member of the planning commission.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody else before we vote? All right, all in favor of appointing Brian Nelligan as our next planning commissioner, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, of course not. Welcome to the planning commission, Brian. Thank you so much for serving our city. I look forward to getting to know you better.
Absolutely, thank you, Brad.
Thanks. All right, so we are almost at the end, everybody. It's time for city commission and city manager's communications. Who'd like to go first?
I'd like to go first.
Go right ahead. Commissioner Stanfield, it's all yours.
All right, so the issue with the made some notes from a few people that I spoke to, so if you'll give me a brief moment, I'd like to go over a few of those. A local resident says the cameras he feels are an overreach for local law enforcement to have such, his words, not mine, control over the public. Another resident is upset about the focus on the flock cameras instead of our roads and water. They feel it's a misuse of funding, and again, it's one of those situations where I tried to explain, it's not the same wallet it's coming out of, so to speak, and again, I was stupid, so. Another resident did have some questions, so I'd like to ask those for them now. Chief, in your opinion, just asking your opinion, do you feel that these cameras have truly helped in the last year?
Extreme.
Okay. And also, what types of crimes have they helped solve here directly in TR?
Come on.
Come on up, Chief.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Chief.
No, that's fine. That was actually
Good.
so. Did you want to answer?
Welcome up.
Would you like me to read it, Big Christian?
If you don't mind, that'd be great, Chief.
Okay, these are, the flock is part of an investigative tool to help us, and I can run through some of the crimes it's helped us with,
Sure, if you feel
and you can tell me when to stop.
Okay.
Okay, ATM larceny, missing person, stolen vehicle, MDLC fugitive, hit and run, MDLC fugitive, stolen vehicle, bank robbery, fling a loose suspect, drug distribution, utility trailer theft, car versus pedestrian, solicitation of minors, stolen vehicle, felonious assault,
That's pretty good.
That's a lot.
terrorism, B&E, shots fired, pursuit, felony retail fraud, stolen vehicle, fugitive arrest, domestic violence, suicidal male with gun, missing endangered juveniles.
Okay, I think we got that.
Okay, because I've got about 8 more pages.
Well, the only.
Now, are those hits? Because I'm learning that a hit is considered like a score when it's just a hit and it didn't necessarily solve the crime. That it was the police that solved the crime, not the hit.
Some, originally when we went into FLAC, and I tell you that I had previous experience from Kalamazoo using it, and I was extremely successful there. But what I've really found out, it's been a huge investigative tool for us, and that staffing is always an issue.
Sure.
And it's been a force multiplier for, $16,000 is what it costs the city.
So theoretically, it's cheaper than adding another officer to the force.
Well, it's cheaper than a part-time employee.
Right. And the only other question I have from this citizen here is, in your professional opinion, do you feel that there's any hangups or anything that could be better that would possibly prevent us from using it in the future? Basically, has there been any notice of any flaws? Have they been hacked? Have they been here in our city?
There is, no, not in our city. There has been publications out there and videos about security concerns, okay? That I reach out, spoke to FLOC, they sent information, I forwarded to be forwarded to the commission, that I think, according to FLOC, those issues have been addressed, and a lot of the information that was out there was misinformation.
Okay. Now, as far as, and I'm not trying to be the big talker up here, I apologize, I just a few more questions. As far as all the flock cameras go, like, I have just as many people who said good as who said bad.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to be the middle person here.
No,
That being said, when I was doing a little bit of my own research on them, the only question that I really have is who's governing this? Like, who says what access who can have to what? I mean, there like an overseer of who grants access to these cameras? Like if, let's say the mayor just wanted to jump on there one day, would she have access to jump on there and see who's
No.
on camera doing what? Okay.
No.
And so it is,
Law enforcement has access to it, and then we conduct audits
okay,
looking that you have to put in a reason code and a case number.
gotcha, okay. Yep.
So,
So law enforcement has a lot of information tools that they have at their disposal, all highly regulated, penalties if you violate it, the rules. So it's just one more similar to like a lien, you know,
Sure.
where we
Oh,
look
yeah.
at people's driver's licenses
Yep.
and their car registration information, criminal histories, all those things are regulated programs, and this is just another tool that they know how to use to protect.
Okay. I hope I'm asking the proper questions, and
No,
again, I
it's-
don't wanna be insulting, it's just, you know, I know that there are some citizens who feel like, almost like it's a violation of their privacy, so to speak, so I just wanna clear the air for those who possibly feel that way, and let them know that it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
and to be realistic is that technology is evolving,
Always.
and these cameras and LPR cameras are out there. So, and they've shown high success rates.
Sure.
So,
Tony, do you mind if I ask a question?
No, fire, yeah,
Sure.
please, fire away.
My only
Thank you,
question is, are you able to just jump on there and look for something, or do you have to have a specific reason what you're looking for
Okay.
to use them?
that we have to have for a criminal code or investigation, and then a case number associated to that, what we're
Tied
looking
to
for.
it, for you to use it in the first place?
Yes, to do a search.
Gotcha.
So that's our policy though, that's not the way the machine is set up. Clarifying your question.
Yes, is that what our policy is?
That is our policy, but it's also the way the system's set up.
I know that there's like a drop down where you have to add a reason.
Enter the information.
Are these beneficial when you're serving warrants and things like that too for you? Does it help out when you're trying to serve a warrant?
It depends. That if, let's say that we have a wanted fugitive for felonious assault that lives here in the city, and that we know he drives XYZ vehicle.
Right.
We have the ability to do a search on there to see if that person's come in there, but there's also, it's a part of an investigative tool.
Right.
Okay, because we have to follow everything, we have to verify that, because all we're taking is a picture of the back of a car. So we have to do work on that
Sure.
to get to that level that we can act on it.
So that you even know who you're looking for, basically.
Right.
Yeah. That makes
So-
sense.
So there's safety nets and it's regulated and there's a lot of policies, protocol, procedures that go along with it.
Yes,
Thank you.
very much so.
Next.
I have some questions though too.
Sure.
I didn't know what clocks were until about a month or so ago, until a very young, very smart constituent brought this information to me. So I've been studying it a bit. I even went to a presentation this weekend in Kalamazoo that was hosted by a group called Get the Flock Out of Kalamazoo, and included a representative, actually the policy specialist from the Michigan ACLU. So I feel like I have some pretty strong information here.
Okay.
And some of my questions revolve around not a concern with your department. So I want to make that very clear.
Okay.
For the purposes of this conversation, let's say I fully trust every single officer and that's not my concern, okay? These are complete outside concerns.
Most definitely.
Seeing these videos of how easy they are to hack scare me. Seeing what happened, for example, an officer in Texas followed a woman through Flock all the way to Illinois because she wanted to obtain a medical procedure that is illegal in Texas but is legal in Illinois. He was able to track her there. There's discussion of black market logins for sale. There's significant concerns regarding how much data this is using. We're furthering data centers and the best storage centers. Flock itself is headquartered in Georgia, and it's only governed by Georgia law. And from what I've heard, Georgia doesn't have a lot of laws about how the data is stored and how the data is used and how it's sold. We do have a couple of bills in the Michigan House right now, 5492 and 5493, and these basically put some restrictions on what police can do. And they're receiving vast support from both extreme ends of the aisle. Just for some locals, I don't think I've seen a bill that Representatives Julie Rogers and Matt Longjohn from Kalamazoo and Portage support, as well as Representative Steve Cara. For anybody who doesn't know those guys, they're like, you know, Blue Jay Blue and Ruby Red, and they're all sponsors on these bills. I did send some follow-up questions. I'll also tell the room. We were presented with some facts, like an info sheet, what, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, give or take, a couple weeks ago, that came through Joe that had some information from you on it before the Watershed Voice article came out. And I had some follow-up questions, you answered them lickety-split, got right back to me, and offered a meeting with you, me, and Dibble, and Sergeant Dibble, sorry. And I answered back with a couple more questions, and I haven't heard back. So I'd like to, because there are still some concerns here. There's an organization called DFLOC, and you can find them at dfloc.org. As of 12:40 p.m. today, there were 87,268 of these cameras in the United States that this organization knows of. As of now, there are 87,379. That's from 12:40 today till just now. I just clicked the button. So they're everywhere. It's not just us.
Can I answer some of your
Absolutely.
questions?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, there's 2 major videos out there, okay? I forwarded today because I finally got a response back, and there's a lot of misinformation in those videos that, according to FLOC, and they have, that explains it in the response, and commission should get that here shortly.
Thank you.
About the videos. Reference to the information, okay? There's some misinformation about there. There was an article that was published. In that article, it talked about us using a search for immigration, okay? And if you look at the source that was taken from, it actually shows that it was alert. NCIC, which is a nation organization, enters wanted people or fugitives into the system.
Okay.
So that goes into the system, it updates twice a day, okay? One of our cameras hit on that it was an immigration warrant for a subject that wanted for also a CSC, which is a rape. But we also have, on our system, we have enabled the safeguards that says we don't do it for immigration and we don't do it for the second thing about the medical treatment. So none of the searches can be done for that.
But this officer from Texas managed to find its way into the system. That's the thing. It wasn't that an Illinois officer did anything wrong.
So what I'm saying is that information could not be accessed from our system. Okay,
So we
not in
receive
Three Rivers.
From other people from outside.
So if there's another agency that allows that, they could. So,
Okay, so let's do a little clarification here. So it's not that our officers, and again, this is nothing against our officers, I promise. Like, that's not even my concern. It's really, really not.
technology is confusing.
Technology is the scary part,
Yes.
exactly, and I can't help but hear Orwell when I see this. I was flabbergasted when I first learned about this stuff. The system itself is the problem, is what I'm concerned about.
Okay.
Not how we necessarily use it. However, I like the type of safeguards that we have in place. I would like to see that policy fully fleshed out. I would like for us to comply with.
And the safeguards that I'm telling you about, reference the searches, are in the software. Okay. That we have our policy, but these are software enabled things that an officer can't search for immigration or medical treatment. So the system will allow it for Three Rivers.
So the way I understand it, there used to be just a blank spot where the officer would enter their reason. And then recently Flock changed it to be a drop-down menu where you only have X number of choices, which are all, quote, legitimate choices. Is
We have a
accurate?
drop-down menu that's like 51 categories
Sure.
of crimes.
And those would all be crimes we're all familiar with, of course. What's to stop somebody, again, I'm not talking about our officers, I want to make that abundantly clear. But what's to stop someone from just choosing a drop-down, choosing something from the drop-down, and then going ahead and entering that license plate?
Well, that's the auditing that we do on checking those reference to the case numbers.
Now, if somebody's caught doing that, they're gonna be held to the fullest extent of the law too, correct?
There is no law.
There is no law, but that, I am administrator on it, and there is internal punishment.
Right.
But then there's also, I can remove anybody from the system.
Okay.
So
like
that
it's
is
a
there.
Moderator type situation.
And just moving on, you talked about black market, okay. Flock still attests that there's been no hack of their system in the data. And the data is not sold to people. You talk about the number of cameras out there. Yes, I just drove down to Alabama, and that you see them all the way down there. And also, that we're talking about Flock, which is one company. There's 16 major companies out there right now. So, and what we're also finding is that if you look, there's about as many private entities that are using the system also.
Such as homeowners associations.
Homeowner
things like that.
associations, repossession companies, towing companies, so that they are there, so.
Chief, I appreciate your answers here.
Thank you, Chief.
It's unnerving. And again, with no question to your department, but just to the technology itself, I'll just go ahead and state, I don't believe Flock is being honest when they say that they aren't being hacked, because I've heard of Ben Jordan. And I hope that everybody in here goes home and goes on YouTube and checks out Ben Jordan and watch a couple of his videos. I would say watch it on an empty stomach. So, well, thank you, sir. I do look forward to the information that you're going to send over and a reply to my email as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. Tony, do you have any more comments?
I do not. I would
Okay.
just gracefully bow out our comments.
Sure.
I just want to make a comment about the roads. We just came back from Orange Beach, Alabama, and believe me, the roads going down there are just as bad, if not worse, than in Michigan. We have bad roads, but they are everywhere, and it just astounded us that major highways are the same. City roads, even down south, the bumps, the potholes, it's unbelievable. So it's not just in Three Rivers, it is everywhere, everywhere. So, it's not just here that it's horrible. Believe me, it's everywhere.
Carolyn, you have the floor?
Yeah, it's about the roads, and I know they're gonna be fixed at a certain time, but on the intersection right there at Washington and East Michigan, I can see water splash up over cars when it rains because the puddle is so deep and the water just settles there. It's always been a problem in that area. The water runs either one way or the other. It builds up on one side of the street or the other. This time it's on the far side, and when cars are going in the east direction, it's just, and so everybody's trying to move over to avoid the puddles, and it could just really cause an accident. But I'm talking about it because I'm
get the transportation because their bus got destroyed in that storm.
Oh, did it
That
really?
was a trailer.
I saw-
That was a trailer.
They use charter buses.
Oh, wow.
They were very comfortable.
That was
That's so
Nice
fast.
charter
And I also saw some of Sturgis equipment in the back of the trailer of Sturgis maybe for their instruments, so, yeah.
That's nice. Our neighbors are gonna take that up now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're in the rainy season, and I just like to remind everybody that if there is a drain in front of your house, it is your responsibility to keep it clean. A lot of those drains having leaves and stuff in them is a big part of having those big puddles on the street. You reminded me of that, because there's 2 drains that are 2 doors down from my house and across the street from my house, and both of those get clogged up, that you can't cross portage. So when there's a heavy rain, I go out there and I clean them up. Even though it's my neighbor's responsibility, I still go out and I clean them out, because having your engine waterlogged, that's no fun for anybody. So be kind, take care of those. If you see it, don't just think somebody else will get it. If you see it, take care of it. Even though it's that homeowner's responsibility, we're a community. We help each other. And I'm out there with my rake pulling leaves out of there so the water can drain. You know, that's what we do. Even though it's not directly in front of my house, I take care of it. I'll get one side, I'll have my son do the other side. You know, in the rain, we'll do it. Take our shoes off, get in there, because sometimes it's like 5, 6 inches deep. You know, and that'll kill somebody's car. So, something I wanted to say.
Anything from you, Steve? Luke, anything from you? TJ?
Sure, real quick. So I do have thanks to Leslie and her prime skills, we have a copy of this just for your review. As we said, we're gonna come back to this, but this is an International Property Maintenance Code. So I thought it'd be a good idea to hand it out so everybody had a copy of it, just kind of get an idea of what it looked like.
It's so much smaller than I expected.
It's small print.
Mostly digital?
Hope you have glasses.
Great. Fantastic.
It's extremely small print.
Thank you.
And so. You already got one.
No, I haven't.
No?
I need one for planning, so.
Don't hand him one. I'm gonna hand it to him. I think he can catch. He curls.
Are these updated every 3 years? Like
So, well, they're not every 3 years. So what happens is International Property Maintenance Code meets, and then you see on the back of this one is actually, this code authorized, approved. And so generally when if the city commission chooses to adopt it, the ordinance would indicate that the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code or any, subsequent adoption by the commission. So, a lot of times the new code books come out and they will change a couple words or maybe a section here or there. And so main reason for this is not to get into tonight, but so you can kind of look at it, get familiar with it, so when we come back to have more discussions, if you have questions, that may further the discussion quicker as opposed to, save a little bit of time. So we wanted to get those to you, so thanks Leslie and staff for
Thank you.
getting those. The next issue, the last meeting, there was a discussion, it was 3 weeks ago, about an outdated portion or potential issue in the charter.
Thank you.
Leslie was able to go back, city staff, to 1995, pull all that. That was the only section of the charter that had not been updated on the meeting code.
The one that we had
The one
discussed?
that we had. The
Okay.
good news is city staff was aware of it. There was a memo they found, and city staff had been following the charter amendment from 2011.
Let's go ahead and tell people what that was.
It dealt with the number of signatures needed on filing petitions,
Yep.
and it was a reduction amount as opposed to 50 to 100, it was 30 to 50. So it made it less cumbersome on potential candidates to circulate petitions within the city for offices. So that, the city has been following that. We were able to confirm that there were no other charter amendments that are not captured back to 1995.
Okay. Thank you for taking care of that. That was on my list of questions.
Thanks staff.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate that. It's good to know that it's up to date and that it's not inaccurate anymore. Thank you. And that was only that
So that was on a Tuesday, I was leaving for vacation, I had most of the information by the Friday that I left, Leslie was on, there, she was able to pull a lot of that information and pull it quick,
This is
so.
pretty fantastic.
So we were able to get that information, and so I think that we're in good shape there, I know that they'll talk to you more about Muni Code at a later date.
Okay.
The only other thing I have for the commission is the massage ordinance, you'll be getting an email from city staff this week, probably through Leslie, it'll be a red line version. So
Okay.
the version you're gonna get is going to be what it looks like now with all the markups that was made,
Mhm.
and that has comments from, kinda had it reviewed by a number of people, at the city, and proposed to maybe try to bring it for first reading at the next meeting.
Okay.
But to give everybody an opportunity to reach out to me if they had questions before that,
Thank you.
it kind of what it is. So you'll see that we've tried to clean up the language, take some of the archaic language out, and stop using the word massagist and use massage therapist.
Thank you.
And stop and more regulate the business itself and the facility, not the actual massage therapists themselves, since they are regulated by the state. So
Thank you.
that's what's coming. Other than that, hope everybody had a good Easter.
Excellent, thank you. Joe, anything from you?
Just regarding the roads, remember we get this every year, every
Okay.
spring. This is the freeze and thaw, the extra rain, the water, it plays havoc, it doesn't let our patches stick very well, stuff we're using. But we'll get through it, we'll get things patched up and keep replacing streets.
Thank you. I'm interested to see that 6-year plan. All right, any other comments, or is it my turn? All right, I think we're on me. Carolyn, I would like to start with you, and I wanted to bring up, seeing as it just came up, thank you. I looked at the vote on that ordinance that did change, and you and I happen to be in agreement that it's a little too easy to get on the ballot here. You had voted to maintain the higher number. You were the lone person who voted to maintain the higher number, and I commend you for taking that stand. You're welcome. 30 signatures is easy, guys. So
It used to be 100, I believe.
I think it was 50, but you could turn it up to 100.
Yeah, 50, they changed it, they reduced it now, it's 50 to 100, now it's 30 to 50.
Yeah. So thank you for that. It was a long time ago, but thank you. I don't have a whole lot to say tonight. So I'll end with my favorite part though. So I'll start with my less than favorite. TJ, I sent you those questions that,
Yep.
and I haven't had a reply.
I'm putting them together, I've got the answers, is my thing, I was gone for 2 weeks.
It was a pretty simple question.
Right, I was gone for 2 weeks.
You were gone for 2? I thought you were only gone for 1.
I was out for 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. You're forgiven.
I mean, I will say this, the answers came in, but in order for the reason, the process we're following up, I've gotta go through it and I will respond to you.
Okay, fair enough. I really thought you only got 1 week. Okay. All right, so I don't know, this is my favorite part of the whole meeting. I don't know if everybody has seen the video that's going around online, but I hope you have. And if you haven't, it's all over social media, but it's definitely on my page too. During the tornado, a very lovely elderly gentleman named Del Eastis wasn't feeling well, and he went into the hospital as the tornado was actually touching down. Del is a lovely older gentleman. He doesn't move fast. He's up in age, and he needed some help. And he managed to get inside the building moments before the tornado struck. An amazing young lady named Abigail Hostetler put herself between Del and the storm and went into the lobby and got him and physically got him to a wall, put herself in front of him. I'm sorry guys, I might just get choked up. I cried when I watched it. And she stayed there, and I'm watching, and I know Del. I'm sorry, I know Del, and watching her comfort him and keep him from falling down, and as all this debris is coming in the windows and pictures are being ripped off the wall, I just want to say thank you to Abigail Hostetler for being an absolute hero. So thank you, Abigail. If you ever see this, know that you're going to have some prayers from me for a very, very long time. And I wonder how many other Abigails there are out there that we don't know about. So as we move through our day and as we move through town, try to imagine that everybody's an Abigail. You know, when somebody's in front of you in line or cuts you off in traffic, give yourself a moment and think, what good did that person do today? And give people the benefit of the doubt, because people like Abigail aren't out there singing their own praises. Sometimes things get videotaped in a storm, and we have the opportunity to see a hero in action, but there are a lot of heroes that we don't see. So, thank you, Abigail. I appreciate you. You brought tears to my eyes again and made my day. And I'll tell you, I've seen Del since. He's doing well. It was good that he went to the hospital, but he's doing very well, in large part thanks to Abigail. So, with that, thank you everybody for coming to a boring city meeting where we talked about a bunch of money and didn't do too much fun stuff. I appreciate everybody that came, and I hope everybody has a good night. Do I have a motion for dismissal? Any questions? All right. Does everyone agree that we should leave now? Say yes.